It was very shocking, the funeral about the pet. That one we have to discuss. But let's start off with some tweets. Now, singer Kevin Kioko, alias Bahati, who's eyeing the Mathare parliamentary seat in the August 2022 polls, is involved in a war of words with none other than ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna on Twitter. So Bahati's candidature is under scrutiny, in case you didn't know, after Sifuna announced that he has stepped for incumbent Anthony Oluoch. The war of words between the two politicians turned dramatic after Sifuna mentioned Bahati's wife's name in a tweet. Let me start off with Kwach. What are your thoughts?
Well, I enjoy this sort of things. And one thing that...
Drama. It's the drama for you.
It's the drama for me. It's the drama. Sisi ni violence. Team violence. Hapo ndio tushukishwe. So, the first thing I noticed is, these are the leaders. You know, Kenya has gotten to a place, and I don't think it's just Kenya. It's the world over now. It's a trend. I call it the Trump-Sonko effect. That now, people know they will not get held accountable for the things they say. Unaweza sema kitu yoyote. Ongea vile unataka. You know, kitambo, leaders used to be these polished people who would want to present a public image that mimi ni mtu, I am a straightforward person. You know, this time, leaders are appealing to us by serving us inside the bar. Like, that's how low it's gotten. That's how low the bar has gotten. Mato, I know this is... No, but also, of course, it was a very... not good thing for the SG to bring in Bahati's wife, but it was in a comical way of trying to throw a jibe at him, ati mtoto wa mama sasa nitapelekea mama yake apology personally. But now, after the Bahati started retorting, hey, it was going downhill, and I'm like, Mathare people, are you watching?
Can we share any of the tweets? No?
Can we? Can we?
It was a tough day at the shop, but I always wonder why when men want to take a jab at you, they will always use your femininity. It's right now election season, and when sides want to take a jab at each other, they say, uyo mwanamke. I don't have to tell you who said that and who was being addressed, but it's almost like it's a belittling thing to be a woman. And I wonder why when men want to diminish you as a woman or as a man, they will always mention your wife in a very, in a way, you know, in a manner likely to suggest that they're doing nasty stuff with your wife. Now, that's really below the belt. If you have beef with me, deal with me on an even keel. Don't start involving my wife. It's the same thing I think we've talked about before when the Ndishu brothers did what they did at Ole Sereni, but all the headlines were Janet Mbogwa's ex-husband. You're like, where did she come from? So this thing of dragging women's name in the mud to get at another person, I think in this day and age, the way Kwachif said, there should be a caliber of politics where you're like, you know what, I'm not going to play that game, and I'm not going to be that candidate. So for those of you who are a well-informed electorate, this should be something for you to think about.
You're telling Kenyans to think during elections. Unataka kuhama hii nchi? Come on. Who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? Alafu kitu interesting ni Bahati did the Will Smith thing. Keep my wife's name out of your mouth. Hey! Alifanya hiyo kitu on Twitter. But come on, we are talking about Bahati, who's I don't want to talk about his
voice.
No, not even his voice.
Let
me carefully use the word wisdom. Okay, yeah. The wisdom that he employs in acting or reacting to things. Okay, haikuagi, you know, vile tuna expect from people in his position.
Men shouldn't cry.
No. It's not about crying. It's not about crying. It's not about crying. It is not about crying. Emphasis on the word wisdom in how he reacts and to the things that he says in response, whether it's an action or a reaction to something. It's not what we would expect from somebody who's putting himself in a position of representation. Emphasis on the word representation, because you want to stand and represent all the people of Mathare and say that I am the one who's going to lead them out of or into what they want to go to. So hapo, you siasa pia venye wanacheza.
Well, you know, Mato, nobody has ever said something derogatory about your wife. Maybe they have and you've not said. But Now imagine somebody is coming for your wife and saying things like, you know, if you can't do it, I will do it to your wife.
No,
How would you react?
Cindy, what I'd say about this one concerning his wife, not like I'm defending the SG. Ana budget. Ajanirushia kitu.
Kata simu.
But what I'd say is, I think we cannot ignore what has preceded this moment.
Yeah.
That Bahati and his wife, they have been together as an item in the public eye. Right. Such that every single time that, you know, except for his politics, of course, but everything else, they've been together, so that they've been handled as an item during the reaction. Yeah. So that even the SG, I think he was making a bad joke of, I'll take the apology personally to his wife. So to fall into that line of, mtoto wa mama, mtoto wa Diana. Yes, exactly.
Mtoto wa Diana?
Yes.
I think, you know, different people do react differently to things. He's probably under a lot of pressure. Maybe he just doesn't play about his wife. You know, some people are different. You know, there are times where you go to the club and someone assaults you, and you could be with man A, who is going to just say, you know, just defend you, and then the others will be like, you know what, let's just go away. People are different. But do you think he's justified? At the Trend Live, the hashtag is TTTT. We get back, we're going to read some of those messages. Now, as we talk more about candidates, the candidate for the Nairobi Woman Representative